Welcome back to the House of Booze. We're here with Basil Hayden, Subtle Smoke. This is a bottle I have not tried yet. From what I remember, some of the Basil Haydens that I've tried in the past, they're more of like your entry bottle for somebody getting into bourbon. They're really nice and easy for a beginner, so to speak. So I'm assuming this is something similar along that line. Now, I had the toasted Basil Hayden in the past. From what I recall, that was a pretty nice bottle. I would say that wouldn't be your typical entry bottle for a beginner, but man, it was rather nice. And that was during the period when I was on like this high proof spree, so to speak, to where everything I was trying at that time was all high proof. And then I went back down to something like a Basil Hayden. And I believe these are only around 80 proof. Yeah, so this one's 80 proof. So if I recall, most of them are only 80 proof. So they're real nice for an entry type of bottle for somebody just getting into bourbon. So without further ado, we're just gonna jump right into this. Like I said, hopefully this actually turns out to be something rather nice, almost like that toasted that I had before. So we're just gonna jump right into it. See what we have. Basil Hayden, like I said, most of their bottles are about 80 proof. If I recall, almost all of them are. So here on the side, you just have a quick list of notes here. Hickory, caramel, velvety, mouthfeel, soft smokiness, hence the name Subtle Smoke. So hopefully this is a real nice bottle here. So of course, on the channel, House of Booze, you know we always got to go for that cork pop. So see what we got here. Not a bad cork pop. Now see, this is one thing that I can't stand. Synthetic corks, and I understand the whole, logic behind the synthetic corks so they don't dry rot and fall down into the bourbon, but man, it just doesn't give that cork pop like your typical cork. And almost like every single synthetic cork, you don't get anything off of that cork when you try to nose it. So me, myself, I prefer a real cork. So I can get a little bit of aromas off of that glass there already, just with it being open. So right away, immediately, this is a rather light finish on the bourbon itself. Nothing too dark. Roll the glass a little bit, see what we got with the legs dripping down. So nothing too thick, not bad. I'd say about a medium to thin drip on the legs. Nothing too crazy. I'm gonna have to say, yeah, that's an entry type bottle for somebody getting into bourbon. A very light and easy nose. Nothing really too complex going on there. So you do get your sweetness, your caramel, vanilla right up front. Slight barrel char. Just an easy all around nose. Yeah, I'm getting slight barrel. Vanilla is definitely there. Nothing too complex, like I said. Not bad at all. We'll go in for the sip, see what we have here. Hopefully the sip has a lot more going on for it. In for the sip. Not a bad sip, not bad. Actually goes down pretty warm. I like that. For being at 80 proof, that goes down rather nice and warm. Now, unfortunately, it did sit pretty thin. The caramels and the sweetness definitely translated to the palate. Definitely get that immediately. As I'm sitting here, not a bad finish. It's very light to medium finish. More of the warmth going down the back of the throat. I get a whole lot more than, you know, of that rather than anything sitting on the palate. It's a rather thin, light finish on the palate. Man, sorry Basil Hayden, not a whole lot going on with this bottle. Not bad though. Definitely a entry bottle for a beginner, I would say. Now with that sip there, I did get a little bit more of the caramel vanilla right up front. Now I'm starting to get a little bit of that smoky barrel char. Not a whole lot, but it's a little bit there. I mean, hence the name, subtle smoke. Very light and easy, not bad. That vanilla is definitely coming through. But once again, this definitely sips pretty thin for my liking. And I almost get a ethanol on the nose. Not a whole lot going in the glass nosing it. And I'm rather sad because I was hoping that would be compatible or comparable with that Basil Hayden Toasted that I had before. Definitely a beginner bottle, I'd say. Price point, man. Yeah, the price point on these type of bottles, to me, a lot of them are overpriced. The way this drinks and sips, noses, like on the palate, there is nothing left on my palate right now after those couple sips. Nothing whatsoever. To me personally, these bottles, they sip and nose probably more so of around your $30, mid $30 range. Not bad. I personally, I probably would never buy that bottle. Not for $50. To me, like I said, that's definitely about $35 bottle, the way it sips and noses. Not bad overall. I mean, if you're just getting into bourbon and you want to get a little fancy with your bottle, definitely right there, that's, you know, go right ahead. Yeah, I can see a beginner getting down with that. That's not bad. Yeah, man, me personally, I don't get a whole lot on this bottle. All I get is vanilla, little bit of barrel. And I wish all that warmth, instead of being at the back of the throat going down, if that would stay on the palate, at least mid part of the tongue, and kind of marinate and sit there on the palate, it wouldn't be so bad. But yeah, it's just really warm for an 80 proof going down. Very, very warm. Yeah, I'm sad to say, Basil Hayden, this is not one of your better bottles. Not at all. Definitely a beginner type of bottle. Like I said, I'm starting to get a lot more ethanol on the nose. When normally sitting in the glass, all the flavors and aromas kind of enhance over time. Sitting in the glass, swirling, rolling around, I just get more and more ethanol. Yeah, this is one I might have to pass on. Now, like I said, if you're getting into bourbon, that's your jam, you like that, by all means, enjoy it. Not everybody's palate is the same, you know. Some are similar. There's a lot of people that come over that don't like the same things I like. They like the more softer type of bourbons. So I could see how, you know, somebody with a totally different type of palate than what I have would probably fall in love with that bottle. For me, it just doesn't do it for me. Till next time, we'll see you.